Okay, everything's rolling. You ready? Like to hear it?
Yeah.
Here it go. Mute now.
Despite what their moms told them, they just aren't talented enough for radio. Unfortunately, anyone can have a show these days. Sean.
Well, I'm pretty hard to figure out sometimes. In fact, I can't even figure myself out sometimes, so don't you try to.
Joe.
You're an idiot and really a disloyal person.
This is the Cuse Militia. Those two unapologetically biased orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
It's the most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
Welcome, orange men and ladies. Happy Sunday. This is the Cuse Militia with Sean and Joe at Cuse Militia on the socials. Go there, join the militia. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out with us. We appreciate all of you. A rough weekend, to say the least, for Syracuse fans. A 41-17 loss in Syracuse football. Last road game of the season. And Colgate puts up 100 on Syracuse in the Dome. They improved to 1-54 against Syracuse since 1962. So congratulations. Joe, I went fishing. I had to DVR the football game, and there was no DVR in the basketball game because that was ESPN Plus only as far as I could see. And so I was 50 miles offshore fishing in a 30-foot sea hunt. And I've been out there before like that in a boat around that size. But, this was borderline, should have been canceled, this fishing trip. So I was sick from about 10:30 in the morning till about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Basically, doing what I could to fish. I was trying to push through, but I was sick. I ended up yakking off the side of this damn boat. There was 8 of us on the boat. 4 of us yacked. The seas were really bad. And that was still better than watching these games when I got home. You come home after a day like that looking forward to chill and get warm and maybe try to stomach a couple beers and watch some football and basketball. And no, not so much. So
yeah,
anyway.
It was tough. I was in my living room and I had the 2 TV setup going on, and I was pumped about it, but yeah, didn't work out so well.
It was a bad weekend for Syracuse fans, and also, look, if you're a Bills fan, you're probably a Syracuse fan, right? Also a bad day. I know a lot of Dallas Cowboy fans that are Syracuse fans. Also, not a great day. The Raiders, they suck. Can I just say something about the NFL real quick? Can the Raiders, can Mark Davis, this moron, can he sell this team so they can rebrand this thing and start it over again without it being called the Raiders, and we can be done with this and I don't have to watch the NFL anymore? Seriously. I'm so over the losing and the ineptness of what was the Oakland / LA / Las Vegas Raiders. Anyway, they suck. Unfortunately, I hope Derek Carr goes somewhere and finds himself a good home and can be successful, because they have no clue what they're doing over there in Las Vegas. Anyway, we are going to get into the coach montage for Syracuse football, and then we will do some fan feedback for that, and then we will do we'll talk a little bit about the Colgate game and get into some fan feedback for that. But as always, first, let's hear what Coach had to say after the game against NC State. And I'll have to mark this down because I fucked up.
Were you going to do a read?
I do it after, normally. Here we go. I had the wrong input on. Here we go. Ready?
Definitely one of the better teams we played this year. They had a fantastic performance. We thought it could be a game, but we had when you get that kickoff return and you get that interception for a touchdown in the first half, it makes it difficult. But boy, we're a really, really good football team, and we wish them the best of luck all the way down.
2 weeks in a row, the lack of pass game really hurts. What goes into making the offense more versatile?
Well, we got to hit some of those shots. If you guys go back and check the tape, there's guys open. As open as their guys were was as open as our guys were. But we got to make those throws. If you make those throws, it opens up all kinds of things and it makes it more exciting and more dynamic game on that side of the ball. We got to hit our shots.
You guys had some success with Garrett throwing the ball earlier in the year. What has sort of changed the last couple of games?
There's so many more people lower in the box. There's not a lot of gimme throws. Things that are open are the deeper shots. We have to hit some of those deeper shots. And deeper shots, you can go 50%, but you can change the game to 50%. But you need to go somewhere close to 50%, not less than that.
Is the issue the throw, the time, guys getting open?
I think it's a lot of things. You got younger wide receivers in a situation where we had one of our walk-on wide receivers playing through it. And as you're getting down the depth chart, you're getting down to the end of the year, there's a lot of things that are going wrong. And sometimes the guy slips, sometimes the offensive lineman inside. There's been a lot of stuff going on.
When you see a big emotional leader like Josh Black go down on your team, what emotions are going through your head knowing he's a super senior and everything he's done for the program?
Well, first of all, he's going to be okay. Now, he may not be okay right away, but he's going to be okay. So that's the first thing, because he's done so much for this program. You want him to have an opportunity to do the things that he wants to do at the next level after graduation. But when he goes down, he was an emotional leader. He stayed on the sideline. He was a warrior, and he kept talking to his position group, trying to keep those guys up. So we really appreciate that.
Gave up a bunch of big deep ball throws last week. It started off pretty well today, but how do you think you guys performed overall on the deep balls?
It's the style of defense we play, so you guys hold on because it's not going to change. And when I say that, I mean this year, the year after that, we play man coverages. If you want to play man coverage, come to Syracuse University. You're going to get an opportunity to play it. Now you better be careful what you wish for, because you're going to be out there all by yourself with TV cameras going and everything else. But if you do that at an extremely high level, you may get an opportunity to play at the next level.
Obviously, the last 3 games, the passing game has sort of not been there. What do you think is the biggest challenge?
We just be on the same page. This was a tough one to swallow, I feel like, especially because there's no help in the room. It's on here. I had guys open, misreads of the run game, pass game. And we felt like I operated well for the most part, but it's just tough. Get back in line for get better. But there's some things where we were just on different pages, and we like the kick, and it was kind of a bad look. I should do the ball away or made it. It's what it is. We learn from
All right, the coach montage is brought to us first by MyBookie. This year, Turkey Day at MyBookie gives you plenty of reasons to be thankful, starting with a $250 risk-free bet on Thursday afternoon when the Dallas Cowboys host the shitty Las Vegas Raiders. Bet the spread between the Raiders and the Cowboys at MyBookie. When you win, you win. And if you don't, MyBookie will refund you up to $250. Simply put, you can lose this bet, and that's what you call a no risk at all. Gravy. Bet. Before you get your wager in, set yourself up for success by doubling your first deposit when you use the promo code SPORTSDRINK at MyBookie. That's promo code SPORTSDRINK to double your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000, so you won't need to break the wishbone to be the one to come out ahead. Feast risk-free on Turkey Day with MyBookie, and make sure to stick around for seconds as they gear up for what should be a fun Black Friday with tons of odd boosts that will have your belly and your pockets full. Bet anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. MyBookie.com. Go there. Use the promo code SPORTSDRINK. Okay. I had-libbed a little bit there. My bad. So, Joe.
Sir.
What is going on here? So, anyways, all right, let's start at the top of this montage, okay? 2 scores in 49 seconds. An offensive touchdown, a special teams touchdown, and then a pick six, all within 6 minutes to go, 28 to 7 at one point. So within 6 minutes. So it's hard to come back from a special teams touchdown and a defensive touchdown, all the while with an offense like NC State has, right? So, we kind of saw it coming, I guess, and you remain hopeful. It was a juggernaut for a little while defensively, and it looked like it was going to be kind of a close game. But when it was broke open, it was kind of broke open, and that was pretty much it.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, I started that game off like, okay, like I was very hopeful. We went the first 24 minutes. And it was 0-0 until they finally, kind of got one in there. And, they completed a long pass where, obviously we were man-to-man, kind of, what Dino was talking about. But, their receivers are big and strong, and they made some good plays where some other receivers might have dropped some of that stuff. I don't think we were that far off. But, they go down and they score that first touchdown, and, I'm like, all right. But even up to that point, I just didn't really understand a lot of the play calling. I didn't like the play calling just opening up, not giving the ball to Sean Tucker even from the beginning. I mean, he still only had 100 yards, but he only had 13 carries. So I don't know what they were trying to do in the beginning. Like they were trying to establish a pass, but I don't know. I just feel like you have to force them to stop your run first and then pass, even though they're going to be looking for it. I mean, it's obvious that we have some issues with that, but to your point, to get the ball back and then immediately throw that pick six, you're like, oh, okay, and then I was kind of, it was highs and lows for the last 6 minutes, 15 seconds of the first half, because we turned around after that and in 4 plays, we score a touchdown with that long run with Sean Tucker, and I was thinking, okay, it's 14-7, there's only 3 minutes to go, let's get into halftime. We get the ball at half, everything's good, and then we just kick it off, and then they return the kickoff for a touchdown. It's 21-7, and you're like, oh. And even then, I was like, okay, look, let's just see if we can get some points on the board, and we had a couple decent plays, got up to like half, like midfield or whatever, and then we had to punt it away, and then they hit a long pass again, and next thing you know, they scored 8 seconds to go up 28-7. So in a game where for first 24 minutes, it was a stalemate, and it looked like it was going to be a lot low scoring than we thought. 5 touchdowns were scored in the last 6 minutes and 15 seconds of the first half, and after that, I knew that it was going to obviously be an uphill climb.
Yeah, to say the least. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, we'll move to the next subject here. By the way, the audio once again is just terrible. The post-game press conference. I don't know what's up with that, but it was like the mic wasn't on and it was just picked up by like a camera itself or something. Derek Schrader. I'm sorry, my head is in a different place. Garrett Schrader is. I haven't made excuses. I've just called it like I see it. So I'm going to call this like I see it. Okay. I expect him to be better at this point in the season than what he is. And, the wide open receivers that he's totally missing. One was about probably 10 yards short. I think, he's getting pressured. He's holding the ball too long. He's not making good throws. He's obviously been contained as far as his running goes. So he's got to be able to make those throws. They're loading the box, right? So they're taking some of that easy stuff away, as you heard Coach talk about. And because people have got it figured out, if you load the box, you keep them from running, and you can't do this screen pass stuff or these little dink and dunk things that used to work. And it's like he said, like Coach said, to his point, it's a little bit of, or a lot of everything. It's just been figured out.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And, they haven't really tried to throw some of those screen passes the way that they did earlier in the season, which I'd like to see them do a little bit more. But, yeah, you're right. It's obviously we've figured out that, we have an insufficient passing game, and there's reasons for that, and it's more than just Garrett Schrader. He doesn't miss his every single pass. We saw some misses. We saw some, receivers not – cutting the routes off short, not going for the ball, not being able to get open. I'm sure there's a little bit of play calling involved in that as well. So there's a lot that's going into this passing game as to why it's not effective. So obviously, that's why they went with Schrader earlier on. And like you said, we got to the point where at the end of the season, not only is there a bunch of tape for the teams to try to figure it out, but we've also been playing the last couple of weeks some of the better defenses that we've played this year. So, yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, they figured it out, and at this point in the season, there's no one here to step up. As he pointed out, we had a walk-on receiver catch a pass, Evan Fischler, this past game. So there were some plays there. We obviously left some yards and some big plays on the field, but it's not something that you can just fix in the middle of the season. And then kind of we are where we are, and we're fighting and we're clawing. But again, with the type of teams that we're playing and everything, it's just not enough. And then, like what you said, you give up a defense touchdown, special teams touchdown, and it's too much
to come back from. It's too much to come back from. And Devon Cooper was the one that I remembered now that was wide open, and Garrett Schrader just totally missed him. Totally.
I mean, if he led him, you're talking about that could have possibly been a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, and who knows what would have happened from there. Do we win the game? I doubt it, right? Which brings me to my next point. If Josh Black stays in the game, do we win the game just like Mikel Jones last week? No, of course not, right? But with that said, he's on the sideline. He is a leader, obvious leader, and he is on the sideline in a sling, basically being the sideline coach and pep talking and trying to get this team back into it. But not a good look going into Pitt at home next week, being that it's going to do, it's senior day at the Dome, and we've got Chris Elmore now, and looking like Josh Black might be iffy. And, Vettorello, we've got Bleich, who we haven't seen in a couple weeks now. And so it's just looking like the season, unfortunately, is catching up with the Orange. And I hope that I hope
depth, the youth.
Yeah. And I hope that I hope Josh Black can get back and get in there. And it doesn't look like Chris Elmore is going to be able to get back, right? So it's too bad. At that point, I know. It's just too bad, just as a fan, to just see it kind of come down to this. When Josh Black hit the ground and was holding his arm, I was kind of like a Trevor Pena moment almost, right? It just didn't look good.
And you're seeing the guys dropping, and it's one of those things where when I went back and I watched it, it was like it was painful to watch, because you watch that and you're like, that kickoff return, that shouldn't have been a kickoff return. Deuce Chestnut doesn't hit the guy and just wraps up, right? There's a couple sacks where he had Devin Leary just dead to rights, and just for some reason
he got away,
spun out of it, or we couldn't do this. I remember, I don't know if it was the first drive where they scored for the first touchdown or the last touchdown in the first half. But I know both of those drives, there was like a long, very long completed pass. And I remember there was one where Devin Leary barely got out of his hands. There was two guys right behind him. Like you swore that they were going to knock the ball out of his hands as he was like throwing it. Like they just barely missed it by like a few inches. And it's like these little things where it just seemed like we were right there to make a play, and we just couldn't do it. And it just looks like we're running out of gas, running out of players, and
it's like
you said,
hanging on by
it out. So.
It's hanging on by a string. It's like me on that boat yesterday. Golly day. So, dude, I'm telling you. Look, real quick story. I've never gotten seasick. I've been out in similar situations. I've fished the Atlantic Ocean plenty of times, out in small boats or whatever. This was really rolling seas, and we were way out. And so anyways, I'm like, you got to do number twos at the head, right? But you can go out the back, you can go off the stern to pee, right? So I'm like, I need number two, man. I got to feel better. So, man, I go on down in the head, and it's a center console boat. It's this little head, and you go down there, and it's like this little tiny area. And I'm just rocking back and forth. I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to get out of here. And that's what did it. That's what did me in. That talk about hanging on by a thread. That was me yesterday. So, anyways. Look, getting burned. Syracuse is getting burned. I haven't heard much about this, or there was a little bit in the montage, which is why we're bringing it up. But 5 receivers for NC State with 20-plus yard receptions. And there was a couple doozies, man. A 58-yarder by Carter, and Thaler Thomas had a 49-yard reception.
Yeah.
And those were the two really bad first half ones, right? If you remember, I think Carter was...
Well, Devin Leary's got a strong arm.
Dude, he does. Yeah.
And like what Dino said in his montage about us playing man-to-man, like he's going to leave him out there on an island, and there's one play, deep play in the first half, to who was it, Carter, against Deuce Chestnut.
Yeah.
Chestnut was right there, but Carter was just too strong, held on. If Deuce Chestnut was 2 years stronger, he might have punched that out. I mean, Garrett Williams dropped an interception. There's a couple guys that they were right there for those plays. And that's what I was talking about as far as being right there. Like, this game could have been a lot worse considering the interception, the pick six, and the return for a touchdown. As far as the kickoff goes, so we hung in there. I mean, I was proud of their fight. It was just at this point, like we talked about, they know what our offense is going to do, and I don't think that we stuck to our normal offense early enough because we tried to get cute and tried to pass the ball. It was almost seemed like we were trying to I don't know, like just I don't know, maybe think that they weren't going to. Think that we were going to come out and just pass the ball, but if you don't have the personnel,
I think they tried to catch him off guard with some of that, and trying to be a little cute. But at this point, it's not about being cute.
I'm just saying we got to line up and we got to make them stop our strength first.
Right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you play to your strengths all the time. This isn't the time to be cute at NC State, top 20 team in the country. It's just not gonna work. So
I thought there was a lot of wasted offensive plays, offensive
I got agree.
Drives, opportunities, and our defense held up more than long enough to hope and wait for points. And then again, like I said, with the pick six, obviously, and trying to get cute, and this was the 6th time that he threw the same slant. So at some point. But, and like I said, that kickoff return, if we wrap up, there's no reason why that should have been
that's what next is. That was Schrader at the end of the montage. You heard him taking responsibility. He needs to be better. He needs to make better throws. He needs to do this. He needs to do that. Well, yeah, obviously. A terrible, terrible pick. And, in hindsight, he's like, well, I should have just ate it, or threw it away. Well, that's something he should be doing already, in my opinion. I've been a little critical with him about getting rid of the ball, holding it way too long. I mean, it's time to just be honest here. And that is that if he doesn't get better, 66 yards, 8 for 20 for 66 yards and an interception. This is not Power 5 Division I stuff. And
I mean,
regardless of what you're dealing with, and Joe, I'm not bagging Schrader. I'm not putting this all on Schrader, but you got to blame someone at this point. It's a little bit of everything, right? Schrader should be a little better. Sterling Gilbert, I don't know, dude. I'm starting to fall on that other side of that line. For me, it's just as someone who expected to lose this game too, it's just hard to watch. Regardless of what I thought was going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you're honest with yourself and you're like, look, you said it. I never picked NC State to win this, or I never picked Syracuse to beat NC State from the beginning of the year, and I still don't. I just don't see it happening. And you know that, and you pick the score, and it's a blowout, and you expect a blowout. But when it happens, it's like, oh, that sucked. I mean, you still in your heart of hearts want more, right? You want to be wrong.
Yeah, you do want to be wrong. For a little while, I felt like I was wrong. And I felt like there was going to be a chance, but we just weren't showing anything offensively. And again, too, this is a lot of little things that have culminated to the point where I think there's a lot of frustration there. You got to understand, too, Garrett Schrader from Charlotte. So I'm sure he had some family and friends in the crowd, right? They're trying to get bowl eligible. Obviously, NC State with a good rushing, I think they're number 1 rushing defense in the ACC. And just that's frustration. That's desperation. That's, our plays don't work. This team has figured it out. I don't know what to do. So he's holding on the ball, trying to do too much. And that's kind of, what happens near the end of the year. So, it's obviously got to get better, but there's no doubt in my mind that he showed that he's, our future starting quarterback going into this year next year and into the future. And obviously he's going to have an off season to get better. He's going to have to get better in that aspect, but also we got to get better on that offensive coordinator side. There's going to be there's already been people calling for Gilbert. And if we put up another, I don't even think no matter what happens with Pittsburgh or whatever, I still think that people are going to be against Gilbert. So I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know that we definitely got to hit the transfer portal with some receivers this offseason, and we need to figure out what's going on with that because, Garrett Schrader does have his throwing issues, but we need to surround him with playmakers and receivers that are going to be able to do something.
Yeah. So with that said, let's get into some fan feedback real quick. Let's hear from you guys. And we'll start with Zach on Facebook. Remember the time our future was bright, our rightful place as Big East power was once again in motion after St. Doug abandoned us and Schaefer let us down. This is it, but first we must fend off UFC and the likes from stealing our precious leader. Let's jack up his contract so far that no matter the outcome of the next consecutive years, we've moved on from him. Worked out great. It worked out great for us. Should work out wonderful for Michigan State too. Sports are male soap opera, and I'm having a hard time staying interested. We cannot settle for this being our expectations. And then he puts my real comment. Dino should be fired because he never developed an offensive line. Line was too stubborn to move on from one guy at quarterback, and was too stubborn to move on from one guy at quarterback. Oh, and his buddy at offensive coordinator has no creativity. Our boy Zach on Facebook. Joe. Look, Zach not really, I wouldn't say he's like a negative fan. This is, you can tell like where we're at as a fan base with some of this stuff offensively, right? And when Dino comes to the mic after the game, I was a little disappointed in some of his answers to things. Did you take that into consideration at all, like his demeanor or anything? Like, I don't know. It was almost like, we expected to lose this one, and, this is a great team, and, we got to do this better, and we got to do that better. I don't know. It wasn't very Dino-esque to me at all. Did it seem odd to you?
Not necessarily, no.
Okay. Well, what do you think about Gilbert and the creativity on offense? You come out, you throw eight passes to start the game. You don't have Tucker running the ball like we talked about, trying to be cute. And obviously NC State not fooled.
I just think there's a lot of players and a lot of people that are put in difficult situations just upon the fact of just not having certain just playmakers, just not having the players there really. When you look at it,
you're chalking it up to everybody's doing the best they can with what they got.
Yeah, that's kind of how I would go with it. Yeah, I think that.
But you got Sean Tucker,
right? Which again, I 100% agree that he's got to have more than 13 carries, but he can't be the only guy. And I'm more talking like receiver wise. I watched receivers out there that not only couldn't get open, or get any separation from the players that were guarding them, but also they couldn't block. So
yeah.
Even when we want to put guys in motion or do little screen passes or little swing out passes that are easier plays for receivers and they're almost like run plays to receivers, right? We can't even get blocks from the receivers. And again, it's just one of those things where there's very few things that work. So I just, the playbook that Gilbert can play with and the options he has as far as players trying to get the ball. It's not like, I mean, you'd love to have a situation where you have multiple playmakers, so you're trying to get these players the ball. And I can only imagine Sterling Gilbert in the box trying to figure out plays and like, who do I want to give the ball to other than Sean Tucker, because nobody else screams, hey, I want the ball, or hey, I can make a big play.
That's it. That's just it. It's not like, hey, I can make a big play. It's, dude, go do it. Right? And, some drop passes, but some bad passes. So we're either dropping them or they're bad. It's very frustrating.
Right. But the way that goes, too, is right. So you have Sean Tucker. I mean, every play has, even pass plays, right? Pass play, they have they have like the first, I mean, you have your reads, first, second, third, fourth, So it's not like you call a pass play and it's like, literally it's supposed to, it's
progressions.
Usually pass plays are supposed to, yes, but it's supposed to be, it's
designed for somebody.
Yes, who's going to be open and who's this and that. What's your first look, right?
Right.
So it's like, imagine having to be an offensive coordinator that doesn't
have the playmaker at wide receiver
right?
To have
so now you have to pick a pass play and you have to actually think about what formation, who's the guy that's going to be in there, that's going to, who's healthy, because I don't know if somebody's hurt right now, do I have to move somebody into slot? That's the first progression. Where's he going to get? Like, there's so many things, and when you have so many mismatches as far as the defenders versus our offense, it's got to be hard for him to even think about what play to call, minus hand it off to Tucker or Schrader keep it. And you can't do that every play.
Well, the designed plays for Schrader, I think, are few and far between for the rest of the season. I mean, if he's getting loose because he has room, basically. And he's looking and he's going through his progressions, like you said, and he can't find anything and he can go. And
yeah,
and he needs to maybe look. I don't know. So, because sometimes you're like, why is he sitting in the pocket still, holding the ball, like, for 6 seconds, 5-6 seconds? It's just way too long.
Because he just doesn't want to throw the ball.
I know he doesn't want to.
Nobody's open.
I know, I get it, but you don't stand in the pocket. Get outside the pocket.
But then you got a linebacker that spies him, that's following him no matter where he goes. So it's like, what are you doing?
You get outside the pocket and you throw the ball away. You have to leave the pocket and throw the ball away. And we used to pound on Tommy DeVito for this, right? About running out of bounds behind the line of scrimmage with the ball and all of these things, right? So it's just I just think he needs to be fine-tuned. And I'm not trying to make excuses for him, but I mean, the passing is it is really bad, Joe. I mean, 63 yards, that's really bad. Dave on Facebook, I think someone has to ask Dino if 6 seasons is enough to build a strong football program at a Power 5 school. If the answer is yes, we need to go another direction because we're not there. If no, he doesn't believe and we need to go another direction. In either case, I think it's time. So there are going to be legit calls at this point. And look, I'm someone who predicted a 5-7 season. You don't beat Pitt, you're at 5-7. I don't think it's necessarily grounds to get rid of Babers. I think the transfer portal has been just an absolute shit show. As far as that goes, I think it is destroying schools like Syracuse. Schools that struggle for really solid recruits anyway. And, what did we pick out of the portal? We picked up Garrett Schrader, Chris Bleich. Who else, Joe? Help me out. There's another one. There's another offensive lineman, wasn't there? I think
we got Devon Cooper.
Yes. Okay. Devon Cooper, wide receiver, right? So, but with that said, it's just there's too many moving parts. I don't like the direction of this. I hope this ends. I know this is still the COVID stuff catching up with us with this, but
Yeah, it's just too much. It's you again sitting out a year keeps people
from moving so much.
Really, really doing that stuff, right? Because it's think about it. It's one of those things as easy as if you're not getting playing time, and just one other thing, you're not getting playing time. Oh, and the classes are pretty tough. well, let me go transfer here where it's this, and this.
Right. I can
or,
skate through school or whatever.
Or like NIL, the whole national,
NIL.
getting money and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not getting money here. Oh, my buddy that I talked to from school or from high school, he's over here and he says he gets this, and this. Because I'm almost going to be willing to bet that there's going to be maybe lower talented as far as schools go in different conferences, mid-major conferences and stuff, where you could maybe go and still get more money in that type of economy or that college town. So those things are going to have effect too. And who knows, maybe it's oh man, I knew it was cold, but I didn't think it was this cold. Like there's all these different things, right? Where it's like, and if you have no playing time and you have to deal with all this stuff, and there's a grass is greener type of situation that's just kind of laid out for you.
Yeah.
And you can do it without sitting out a year, then I don't see why you wouldn't do it. So, but yeah, I don't think that it's definitely a situation where it probably hurts us more than it helps us at this point. And I think that we've seen that for the most part, minus obviously, I think right now Garrett Schrader, but he's still kind of I think he's a breath of fresh air because I think he gave us a little bit of hope, and we got some wins, and it was a little bit different. But I think he also gave us that Syracuse, that fans that look like Dungy since Dungy, So I think he gave us that little bit of hope there for a couple games in the way that we were playing. And
the Virginia Tech game, he played really well. I mean, that was his best game as a
really
passer.
Well in some,
but that was his best game as far as an all-around quarterback. That was his best game, right?
Right.
And he showed what he could do. So and just I'm bagging on him a little bit this game because it's two in a row. It's 2 in a row, and it's glaringly obvious, right? So I am a big
sneaking up on anybody next year. That's the problem,
right? And I'm a big Garrett Schrader fan. Like I think that this guy, and I agree with what you said. That 46 yards passing last week to 63 this week. I mean, 109 yards passing in 2 games. It's really bad, dude.
Right. But like I said, I mean, it's a situation where next year we're going to expect something different, right? We're going to expect a little bit of the next step up. He's going to have to do something different because now defenses, they know this game. They know this little offense that we have. So we have to be able to add wrinkles and be able to pass and be multidimensional on offense so that we can score no matter what. Because if we can start doing that, then, I mean, you're talking about real dangerous. Because think about the ride that they took us on. I mean, we didn't think we were going to beat Liberty in the beginning of the season. We made that change, snuck up on them. Defense made a couple plays. Boom. Then we lose 3 games in a row, but all
by 9 points.
Right. But all by 3 points. And you're talking about a Wake Forest, Clemson, and Florida State, right? Then we win 2 in a row. So, we have that whole ride, and now you get to the end of the season and, our depth and injuries and all that stuff, and all the teams are kind of figuring out what we can do. And now here we are. So, it was a good ride. It was a nice little change, breath of fresh air, Dungy-esque a little in the middle of the season. Could have been a little bit better with some wins, but here we are with one more game. I know we're going to go out there. We're going to give it our best, and if we can't, because Pittsburgh's a high flying offense, and they figured out our offense just like almost every other defense at this point. Then it's a good ending, and just hope that we can make that next step over the off season. But there is that opportunity as well, as always, to get in a bowl game at 5-7 too. Which again,
I don't see a path to that, but.
What's that?
I don't see how we get that, but I mean.
Well, it's far out there, but there's still an opportunity. So.
But to your point, just to go back to Schrader real quick, and what you said earlier in the season is that you feel like Garrett Schrader gave us the best opportunity to win. I believe that too. So I do believe that. I don't think that we're sitting here celebrating an NC State or a Syracuse win over NC State in football this week with someone else at the helm. I just don't see it. So, I mean, NC State's a program that is clicking on all cylinders right now, or firing on all cylinders right now, and it is what it is, and we kind of saw it coming. But we will be right back after this. As we talked about earlier, MyBookie is joining us for the week of Thanksgiving. So, this year, Turkey Day at MyBookie gives you plenty of reasons to be thankful, starting with a $250 risk-free bet on Thursday afternoon when the Dallas Cowboys host the Las Vegas Raiders. Bet the spread between the Raiders and Cowboys at MyBookie. When you win, you win. And if you don't, MyBookie will refund you up to $250. Simply put, you can't lose this bet, and that's why I call no risk, all gravy. Before you get your wager in, set yourself up for success by doubling your first deposit when you use the promo code SPORTSDRINK at MyBookie. That's promo code SPORTSDRINK to double your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000, so you won't need to break the wishbone to be the one to come out ahead. Feast risk-free on Turkey Day with MyBookie, and make sure to stick around for seconds as they gear up for what should be a fun Black Friday with tons of odds boosts that will have your belly and pockets full. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie. Also, Symbol is a stock market sports app that allows you to profit off your sports knowledge on Symbol. You can trade sports teams like stocks, and every time your team wins, you earn cash. Use your sports knowledge on Symbol to buy low, sell high, and earn cash payouts when your team wins. Join the 7,000 plus early adopters who have started to invest in their favorite teams. Visit www.simbull.com to create a free account. When you deposit, make sure to use the promo code SD to make your deposit risk-free. That's www.simbull.com and use the promo code SD, and your deposit is risk-free. That means even if you lose money, Symbol will refund your initial deposit, no question asked. Join Symbol and start investing and profiting off your favorite teams today. One more. The Spotify Green Room app. I need a drink. Hold on. Yes. The Spotify Green Room app. Go to your iOS or Android stores now and download the app. All you need is a username, an email address, and a password. And you sign up. You follow us at Cuse Militia. Sign up for notifications. When we go live, you'll get notified. You can either hang out in the room with us or with other people, and you can even request to talk. You request to speak. If I approve it, which I most likely will, you'll have a red microphone on your icon. Tap that red microphone to unmute yourself and say your piece. And you don't have to just follow us. You can follow tons of other podcasts and plenty of other subjects, anything ranging from pop culture, music, sports, like we do, and everything in between. So go to your iOS or Android stores today and download the Spotify Green Room app. It's free, for crying out loud. Go do it. Okay, Joe. Let's continue here with some more Facebook comments about the football game. Pretty bad for the second straight. This is James on Facebook. Pretty bad for the second straight week. Only hope is Pitt hangs on and wins, which they did, and the rest a lot of guys next week. So they're going to go into the conference championship. Joe, do they rest enough guys to make this a legitimate shot for Syracuse to get to 6 wins? How do you see this? Because this is a legit. This is a legit point, okay? I'm not playing. I mean, I'm going to the conference championship. I'm not playing Kenny Pickett. Why the hell would I do that, right? Maybe a quarter. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. How do you see this?
Yeah, I don't. Thing is usually in football, especially college, I don't really see a situation where a lot of times they do that, but. I do think that it's going to be a situation where if there's anybody that is anywhere close to, banged up or, not going to be not healthy or whatever, then I do believe that they're going to, sit those guys. So you never really know. You never know when teams do things like that. And again, it's going to be interesting because do they even know? Is it definitely Wake Forest too?
Yes, I believe so. Pitt, Wake Forest. Yeah, is that still in the air? It could be. Could Clemson sneak in there? Yeah, it might be. It might still be in the air. I think you're right.
Yeah.
No,
Wake
well,
Forest
Clemson lost.
Boston College.
Yes. Yeah, that's right. So it's going to come down to that, right? But either way, Pitt's in, and that's where we're at. So.
Yeah, I mean it'll be interesting. I mean, I hope for our Bulls.
Oh no, Clemson didn't lose. They beat Wake Forest.
They beat Wake Forest. Yeah. So Wake Forest has got one ACC loss, and then Clemson and NC State both have 2.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess it's something to keep an eye on. I got my fingers crossed. I mean, I know everybody out there has their fingers crossed and is hoping for, look, I'll take that. I don't care. I'll take that. Oh, well, this team wasn't at full capacity. Oh, I don't care. I don't care. That gives us some more stuff to talk about here before we get into basketball season. And you know what? That's the point. Right, exactly. And that's the point. So I'm going to keep hope alive coming into that game this Saturday. And the game's going to be at 7:30, which is going to be nice. And there's a big effort to pack that dome. And that's going to be a huge for Syracuse to, get some momentum. And because they're going to be missing some guys too, not willfully, obviously. Right. So they're going to need all the help they can get. Tim on Facebook, I like Schrader as mobile QB, but not throwing wise. I think he should switch to wide receiver instead of QB, and we need a good throwing arm on QB. Well, I mean, the point has been made.
That's why he transferred from Mississippi State.
Yeah. And the point has been made. So, right, he's a quarterback. He wants to be a quarterback. He's going to get better. I feel like he's going to be able to do it in the offseason, and we just got to, I'm going to call it like I see it. And I see it as he doesn't have a lot of pieces, to Joe's point that he's made numerous times. He just doesn't have a lot of pieces to play with. And, I don't think all the blame goes to anybody. I think there's a little bit to go around. And on top of all of that, the transfer portal has really hurt teams like Syracuse. At Kyle Nabiwaniak, need Bleich and Elmore back for the Pitt game. 2, I've been wondering since Virginia Tech game, this is a great point, did Schrader suffer an injury on the last second touchdown that has screwed up his passing ever since? This is an excellent point by Kyle on Twitter, and I think that there is probably some truth to that. When he said he got the wind knocked out of him, I don't hold my ribs. I've had the wind knocked out of me plenty of times. I don't hold my ribs. And you just got to wonder if there is something there.
Yeah. I mean, and that's kind of another thing is it doesn't look like he runs as hard as far as like trying to, I don't know. It definitely, I do understand where that can come from. And, that could be a full possibility that maybe he isn't 100%, which would explain a lot, but again, that's not you ain't gonna use it as an excuse. Neither is Dino. So
no, absolutely not. And they're gonna keep it. I mean, if he's got
Chris Bleich was back, by the way.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I saw him in there. Maybe it was.
I'm sorry,
not the full game, but I was just letting you know.
Okay, well, no, because I was looking for him, specifically looking for him, and I didn't see him. So my bad. All right, at Cuse Daddy 44, Cuse Daddy is not having a very good day. At least it's basketball season. Oh, wait. Well, at least we have beer. Very good point, Cuse Daddy.
Yep.
Disappointed, but we'll always support our orange. Big one in the dome a week from now versus Pitt. Just hoping for some of that dome, sweet dome magic to go bowling. Look, great point. And we need a little positivity, and Cuse Daddy brings it right there.
Yeah. Well, you never know who's going to play, too, like we said, because... Yeah. At the same time, this could be a situation, if Pittsburgh would have played their cards right, they could have been in a position where they might have been undefeated or a chance to play for something bigger. But right now they can't make the college football playoff, and really they control their own destiny as far as maybe getting a New Year's Day bowl by winning the ACC. So it really doesn't – just them playing just to win another game, it's not going to raise their – I mean, the only – you know what they're playing for, right? So the only thing that this win definitely helps is whether or not if they lose the ACC championship game, then it helps for maybe a better bowl game by beating Syracuse, having a better record. But if they lose to us, but then go ahead and win the ACC championship, then they're in a New Year's Day bowl anyway. So
right.
So you never know with Narduzzi though, and it is a rivalry game.
Yeah,
I do believe he does like beating us.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if he's going to just throw a bone to Dino.
He's not going to just throw a bone. I don't believe anybody does that, right? So I thought it's a situation maybe where he has Kenny Pickett in for a quarter or maybe the first half, and then sees what happens, right? Build the lead and kind of milk it. I don't know. So we'll just have to see. Unfortunately, you can't prep for that. It's gonna be very difficult, and the cards won't be shown until game day. So let's see. Oh man, okay, man, we got a couple more. Just a couple more. I'll go through these fast. At R by 2Z Day. I don't know. I'm probably saying that wrong, Andrew. My bad. On Twitter, Schrader has a whole off season to learn to throw. There's a reason Leach moved him to wide receiver. So I mean, look, fair enough. I think he'll work on it. I think he'll get better. Like I said, 100 and whatever the hell it was, 106 yards the past, or 109 yards the past 2 games is unacceptable. At Orange Fan 524, as expected. Congratulations to Tucker on his awesome achievement. Tucker passes Joe Morris for the single season rushing record, so that is huge, and he's got another game to build on that. So that should be something that, something to be happy about. If anything good came out of that game, Tucker's set a record for Syracuse. I also heard and seen, he said somewhere that he was talking about the 44 and he was thinking about, just building his own legacy with the 34, which I think that's kind of where I was. I think I mentioned that before on the show. Just, take the 34 and have that be you, make that you. So we'll see what happens. Not that I wouldn't like him in the 44, but we'll see what happens there. But congratulations to him. Just obviously he's the workhorse of this team, and he also came out of nowhere, man, to be a freaking shining star. It's amazing. Yeah. So, and we're blessed to have him, and hopefully he'll stay for a little while. So, Joe, let's switch gears here to like I mentioned, Syracuse dropped by Colgate 100-85, and Colgate improves to 1-54 since 1962 against Syracuse. And a couple things stand out to us all, and one of them is rebounding, right? Out-rebounded by 10, but the big one was the offensive boards for Colgate. Just a little bit more effort on Colgate's part to get these rebounds, a little bit more energy, and honestly, they just looked like they wanted it more, guys. I mean, if I'm being serious, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, and that's what it was, really. I mean, that's what it looked like when I was watching it. I mean, I was going to ask you, like, even when you could tell, like, off of timeouts or, whatever, Boeheim would get us pumped up, right? Or we'd go and we'd get a rebound. And then Boeheim, I mean, how many times did Boeheim and Jesse Edwards try to get the same rebound and fighting for the same rebound and the ball goes out of bounds?
Yes.
And, they kept it. So it's like little stuff like that where it's just, I mean, it was a ridiculous game, especially the way that it started. Obviously, we talked about Colgate and having, an older team, more experienced team and stuff like that. But, I mean, that game was unexcusable. I mean, I mean, there was, I don't know what it was, if they were looking ahead to the Bahamas this week or what. And I hope they were because,
yeah, at least I guess they would be prepared for it, right?
Look, they messed around and they lost to Colgate, right?
Yeah.
So no matter how this gets twisted, unless you get all the way to the end of the season, March Madness, and Colgate went ahead and won the Patriot League. This is a bad
which is
loss.
Possible.
And if you can't, it is very possible. But let's think about it. If they can't beat Colgate, what are we about to do in this tournament?
Hold on though. Time out. I understand where you're coming from, but for once, I'm a little bit more optimistic than you. I think Colgate is really good. They played really good ball, dude. What was the score at one point? 17-2. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a massacre. And they went 0 for 12 from 3. And they ended up, what did they end up from 3? 18 for 43. That's insane, dude. 32 buckets, 26 assists on 32 buckets. Dude, yeah. I'm sorry. That's not a fluke. Yeah, I just don't think it's a fluke. I think they're pretty good. I really do.
Or they just knew how to play against the zone and move the zone, and they just knew that.
Well, the zone was lazy.
Able to. very lazy. It was allowing, the guards to penetrate. We were giving the ball to the guy at the free throw line, and just, he was making us look so Woodward.
Yeah, Woodward.
I just couldn't believe any of it. You know what I mean? And obviously, we knew Cummings was going to score. He had 6 of 13 from the three for 18 points. But Jack Ferguson. Hit 6 of 13 with his mullet, and he just what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, I watched that infuriated me. That whole game infuriated me. We let Colgate put up 100 points.
A hundo. By the way, I went back on orangehoops.org and looked at the history of the series between these two teams. They've put up 100 against us before and another win, by the way. I think it was like 116 or 106. Anyway, it's still inexcusable, okay? And it was very frustrating. And that, coupled with the football game that I knew they were probably going to lose anyway, was just mind-boggling to me. Just totally mind-effed. What the hell? And Joe Girard was so good, dude. He was so good. 27 points, 5 for 8 from 3. It's shooting 81% from the behind the arc this year, 13 for 16, but his defense was terrible. It was bad. And Jimmy Boeheim.
It's just the whole rotations and everything. And this is a situation where, again, I feel like I don't care how bad man is. Like, you have to change something. They were giving the ball to the guy at the free throw line. Nobody was doing anything. He wasn't letting. If Jesse Edwards, they were basically daring him to shoot, and he didn't shoot. But he could always somehow. Nobody was guarding him, but yet he could somehow pass out of it, and then he would start driving and somehow pass out of it. I don't understand. I hope that Boeheim gave him the business and they watched the tape and they figured it out. Cole Swider being in foul trouble probably didn't help. But
no, he's been off too. He just didn't shoot great. Cole Swider, I'm big on Cole
Benny
Swider.
Williams was minus 28. So, it's obvious that this team was, they're smart, experienced, and we usually play them every single year. They know how to move the ball around in the zone, and we just have a group that's still trying to figure it all out. And, again, I don't want to be overreactionary, you know what I mean? Because, I know losses like this happen, and we've seen a lot of losses like that already against other ACC foes. But that was just frustrating, especially going into this tournament. I was just completely expecting to be 4-0 going in, playing Baylor, and seeing what happened. And now it's like, that hurts, man. That's one of those things
it hurts. I don't think it's a bad, it's too early to call it a bad loss.
That's a bad loss. Yeah, no, it's not.
You don't think it's too early to call that a bad loss?
If you lose to a team in the Patriot League, it's a bad loss.
Okay, well, they were a tournament team last year, right? Let's give them a little bit of credit here.
It's not. It's not a bad loss.
It's not a bad loss.
Only if they end up winning their conference tournament.
Okay, I just said it's too early to call it a bad loss. You said no, it's not. It's a bad loss.
Right now, it's a bad loss. People are.
Right now, it's nothing. Right now, it's a shitty, awful loss. Yes, and we're in our feelings about it, but we don't know yet. It's game 3. It's game 3.
I know. I get it, and at least it's defense, and it's something that can be fixed.
Absolutely,
right?
That's something that always sucks at the beginning of the year.
Right, and we're scoring. We still scored 85 points, right?
Yeah, but we allowed 100. That's what sucks.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, let's stop hearing from Joe. Okay, let's hear from our boy Zach on Facebook. No chemistry. Colgate won because they are playing great as a team. It will come to them as it usually does. I have faith. Thank you, Zach. Jeez, I'm crow. Alex. On Facebook, once again, no thoughts, Sean and Joe. I think football season just ended, and basketball just needs to build some chemistry. So go Cuse basketball. 2 peas in a pod, Alex and Zach. Let's see. Facebook, Steven. Ugly. But growing up in Hamilton, I thought it was very cool. Well, Steven, shut up. those are my thoughts on that comment. No, I'm kidding. Yeah,
no, I mean, that's cool.
It's cool. It's cool for people who grow up in Hamilton. That's great. That doesn't help, Steven. Thank you. At Damn Twin, zone needs work. Boards need work. Colgate is good. It's only game 3. That's it. It's game 3. And yeah, boards need work. I mean, was it last year? I was giving everybody the update on, was it the last year or the year before? I was giving the update on where Syracuse was nationally on the boards. And the progression was really like bottom. And they actually worked themselves up towards the end of the year. I think it was the year before last, but I could be wrong. But my point is that they progressed, right? So the zone always needs work, especially when you're plugging all these pieces in. I was a little bit optimistic, I think, because of Jimmy and, bringing Buddy and Joe back and even Jesse. But I think I might have, one game doesn't define the zone, I don't think, but I might have been a little optimistic on my thoughts as far as the work that the zone might need to go through from the start of the season to the end of the season.
Yeah, well, it's obvious, especially in Cole Swider's situation, where like he needs to stop trying to block shots, stop leaving your feet. Both guys are tall. I mean, you look at Edwards, Boeheim, Swider, just them standing up tall, straight up with their arms up. That's going to make it hard enough for some of these guys to make shots. And on top of that, when you don't jump, you put yourself in good position to be able to block out. And right now, we're not blocking out. We're getting blocked out by guards because we're jumping for everything, trying to block everything. So I think we just need to calm down a little bit on the defensive end and stop worrying more about blocking shots and stuff like that, and just make it difficult for them, but don't get yourself out of position to where you can't get a rebound, because yesterday that was pathetic. And we got a board better than that,
absolutely.
I know they had
the offensive
two guys that were decent size, right?
Mm-hmm.
But giving up 19 offensive, I mean, it was just sloppy. You got to be stronger with your hands. And again, like I said, when you jump for everything, you allow somebody to get in position to maybe get in better position to get a board, and you also put yourself in position to get in foul trouble. So those are things that I think if we just settle down a little bit, then it can that itself will just kind of even some stuff out and take some points off the board. Probably would have taken enough points off the board in this game to
I think not for anything to take away from this game. The boards are something that is just something that Syracuse has struggled with past couple of years. But if anything, it's got to be the way that Colgate was just so unselfish with their offensive play. And I think to improve on the zone, I think obviously that was a huge issue, and it was a complete meltdown. And even, like I said, I mean, Buddy was not good. I mean, Buddy quietly scored 19 points, but he was...
he missed a bunch of threes and everything like that. So,
he was 2 for 6 from 3.
Sometimes you need a game like this to wake the kids up, to maybe... get them a little, cup of water in the face, smack them up a little bit, get them going, because obviously, you think you're good, and then Colgate moves the ball like that and puts 100 spot on you. So if you're not feeling some sort of way on that Syracuse team,
you should,
some type of embarrassment, some type of anything,
and that's
like
it,
that.
Right?
And then on top of that, anything that that the coaches weren't getting buy-in as far as on defense and anything like that because of players' attitudes and stuff. Now the coaches got their attention because nobody wants to lose to Colgate. And now guess what? It's a game they got to make up. They got to get that back.
They got to go to Atlantis and just go lights out both ends of the ball. I mean, I don't know what else.
We got to go to Atlantis and go 2-1. And then we got to come out of that.
At least. Right.
Yeah.
At Tony Staffieri. Dude, I know, I'm feeling you. 100 points to Colgate team. Everyone will make excuses about being a tournament team last year. Oh, damn, I did that. Why don't we ask why this happens? If you don't think this is how the season will end in March, you are a better person than I. I guess I'm a better person than you, Tony. I don't think that this is how this team ends. I don't. And it's not an excuse, I don't think, to mention that they were a tournament team last year, because my point is that I think they're better this year. And with that said, it's not an excuse, by the way. There's no way they should have lost this game. It was an absolute, like Joe said, the perfect word for this is embarrassment. I went to Wegmans yesterday evening. Okay, I'm never without Cuse gear. Normally hang my head high no matter what. I was like, you know what, I think I'm going to switch my hat around today.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know,
didn't even walk down the toothpaste aisle.
No, no, I didn't even go there. Yeah, I think I'm gonna change the hat up because you know, I bump into people. I wear Syracuse gear everywhere, no matter what time of year it is, and I always see people at Wegmans, Syracuse fans or rival ACC fans, for that matter. And I didn't feel like dealing with it yesterday, so you know, I switched the hat up. So it's embarrassing. Like Joe said, it's an embarrassment. And the players should be embarrassed, and not for anything. Hopefully they learn from it. At MF Brightside on Twitter, none of the offseason moves improved the roster. This team sorely lacks athleticism and a ball handler who can handle pressure defense. Wait until Baylor presses on Thursday. Okay. Well, yes, that could be bad. Also, I disagree. I don't disagree with MF Brightside too much, but I think that the offseason moves I think we did improve our roster overall. I really do. I do. And we'll see. I could be wrong. Those are my thoughts.
Yeah.
What do you think, Joe? What do you think about those 3 points there? Did we improve the roster? And then give us your thoughts on Baylor, if you have any.
I don't necessarily. I
don't have any thoughts on Baylor. I'm not exactly a Baylor.
I mean, it's tough because when you look at it, we had a Benny Williams coming in, and we grabbed, 2 forwards and got rid of, and then get rid of him. But Gary, he left. So, and then obviously Kadari. I mean, I definitely would rather have Kadari than Samir's Horns right now. But
well, obviously.
So again, I mean, I think that's still a toss-up. Still kind of I can't call that right now.
Actually, I don't. I mean, would I rather have the talent of Kadari? Yes. I mean, he did some good things. He did.
And the problem is it's 2 for 3.
Well, right, and that's the thing. And also, Kadari sometimes, put this gently, is about Kadari.
Right.
Right. That doesn't work, in my opinion. That doesn't work in the NCAA as far as a final season goal. If you're a me player, that doesn't bode well for postseason stuff.
No,
is that fair?
And yeah, it's fair. And even Boeheim said too. I mean, he came out of the press conference, and this is one of the things that I think sometimes coach says something in the pressers where you're like, come on, man. Like, he's just saying that, right? But then when it comes to actually, when you think about it and you look back, a lot of times he's right. And one of the things he said was that, this team, because of their experience, because of just who they are as a team and the way that they're set up, is going to basically, play like the best that any team. He said that basically the best that any team is going to play against this zone type thing. But I think he's alluding to a kind of exactly what you said, as far as the patience, as far as, like you said, 32 shots made, 26 assists, right? They had players that knew exactly where to go. They made the passes. They moved the ball around. They took the shots they needed to take. I mean, if you have that type of patience and you have that type of unselfishness, then you can do that against this zone, especially if you're making shots and shooting 42% when you puck up 43 threes. But a lot of teams aren't going to have that.
43 threes. 43.
Yeah. A lot of these teams, they're going to have 1 or 2 guys that are about them, right? Or the main scorers, or this or that. They're not going to pass the ball around not caring who's, So I guess only time will tell when it comes to that. But again, that was one point that I kind of took back, and I was like, okay, I'm going to kind of pay attention to this because, is it us or was it just Colgate was really, really patient and just knew how to kind of just get us running in circles on defense? A lot of teams don't have that patience, and I guess we'll see come the Battle of the Atlantis. That's going to tell us a lot here.
Yeah, it will. It'll tell us a lot, and I mean, we're going to go into it with no expectations other than VCU, right? And we'll see what happens and go from there with it. So, Jesse did request to speak. Jesse, you there?
Hello.
Hey. All right. So how you doing? First of all, you're back.
I'm back.
Big Syracuse basketball fan, Jesse is, and he's one of our. He's a regular on the Facebook fan feedback. So, Jesse, first of all, you heard us talk about Kadari. You were big on Kadari last year, right? And not big on Joe, right? Fair to say, last year.
It's not that I wasn't big on Joe. I think he was just playing the wrong position.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Well, what do you think? What do you think? What did you think about Colgate? What do you think going forward? What do you think this game means?
That was a bad loss. It's what I worry about is that I guess that our defense and athleticism, kind of what was it the last question that was asked? MF whatever.
Yeah, MF Brightside, yeah. Team sorely lacks athleticism and a ball handler who can handle pressure defense. That would be Kadari, right?
He hit the nail on the head. If you think back to the tournament last year, my biggest concern going into this year was the West Virginia game. At the very end, we almost gave it away, and Joe tried to get the ball up the court twice, couldn't do it. We got it to Marek, he couldn't do it, and we put in Kadari, and he's the only person that could beat the press last year.
That's a fair point.
And I kind of like Samir from what I've seen, but he's just not as... He's athletic, but he's not as good as Kadari by any stretch.
No, I would agree with that, Joe. Right? That's fair to say, right? I mean,
I
think it's not a slight on Samir, but
no, they have comparable athleticism. It's just Samir Torrance is 6'3", 195. Kadari had, the wingspan of, a forward, so he was a little bit better up there with steals and. Obviously going to the hoop, I think he could just help them finish a little more. You can see Torrance goes to the hoop, but he's having a tough time finishing right now. So who knows? Maybe he has the athleticism to break a press and get the ball up. But as we watched yesterday, they just let him sit at the 3-point line. And Jack Ferguson, he was playing back at the free throw line, and they were daring him to shoot threes. So. That's one of those guys where it's gonna hurt us if he's only one dimensional like that.
Joe's not that funny on the show, but Joe's a pretty funny guy. Believe it or not, he's just so dry, and I love it. So anyway, I do get your point, Jesse. I do, and I'm not, and I agree. I just do think that first of all, Kadari not exactly lighting it up this year, and I don't know what you can attribute that to. I haven't watched it, but I do check his stats, right?
We're 3 games in, bro.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. My point, though. I mean, this goes both ways. So, with that said, of course, I would love Kadari on the roster. Of course I would. But this is what we've got, right? So, Joe offensively has been fantastic to start the year. And we can only hope that he gets better on defense. What's that?
He did miss 3 threes. He should still be 100%. Joke.
Yeah.
He's not shooting 100%. What's he really doing?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we do. I mean, and you're right. Matt or MF Brightside on Twitter, he does make a great point, and it's definitely a role that someone needs to fill. And who is it? I don't know. I mean, and where do we go? Where do we go from there? So, a bad loss. We'll see. I mean, you guys both think so. I'm 2 against 1 here. That's fine.
Jesse, anyway, this turns into a good loss.
It's not a good loss. No loss is good, but I mean, is it going to hurt us come tournament time? I don't think so. It could, but we don't know, right? If this was a buy, sell, or hold, I would say sell. I think that this is a tournament team again. And, someone's already pointed that out that we were going to, someone was going to allude to that. But I think this is a tournament team this year again, but I think they're better. So I would sell. I don't think that this is this. Okay, whatever.
The problem is that everybody is going to say they lost to Colgate until Colgate wins that Patriot League championship. That's it.
Okay, fine. I mean, that's fine.
Then we lost to the toothpaste school.
That's
it.
I know. And here's the thing. All right. So let's say they don't win the Patriot League, but they make the tournament and then what? Let's say they make the tournament. Just leave it there. Still a bad loss? Jesse, what do you think?
I think so.
Okay. Fair enough.
I think this team is like a glass cannon, kind of. They're going to score a lot of points, and I think we did get better at shooting, but we got worse at everything else. I kind of think. Which, I mean, I feel like we're still going to win some games that are really big this year, but we're going to lose some too, just because our defense is bad.
You don't think they can clean it up, huh?
I mean, we're kind of veteran. Like, Jimmy should be good. He's not.
I would agree.
Gonna get like significantly better. Cole's a 5th-year senior, something like that, with an extra year for COVID. So he's not known for his defense either. So I don't see him getting a lot better. Benny, I think, is the big one that could improve, and hopefully he does. And I think that could help, but still only having one good defensive player on the. Maybe add Jesse on there, so 2/5 of the team at any given time is good. Isn't good.
I mean, okay, it's a legit concern.
But we can shoot the hell out of the ball, so we can do that.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, I think that as time goes on, we're in game 3. I think as time goes on, the defense gets better, and we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see. There's some teams down in the ACC this year. There's also some teams that have definitely improved this year. So it's going to be interesting to find out. And with fans back and everything, we haven't hit an away game yet, a road game yet. So they're going to
Benny's the big one, man.
What's that?
Benny's the big one. We need him. We need him to be able to.
Yeah, he needs to be right. Exactly. He needs to improve and get more minutes, and we'll hear the calls for that. As if Swider struggles within Atlantis, we'll hear the calls for that. Jesse, don't be a stranger, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for chiming in, man. Don't be a stranger. All right.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bud. So,
all right, bud.
Let's see. Let's finish these up here at Cuse Daddy 44, fellas. What the actual F? I mean, beyond frustrating, could not secure the rebound for our lives. Way too many second chance points. I know, way too many second chance points. This really is a terrible loss. Wow. I try not to harp, but holy F, a frustrating day to be orange. Love this team, as always, no matter what. Look, it sucked, right? So,
positive ACC down. Right, but non-conference schedule, especially getting coming back to normal non-conference schedule, and how many good teams we have, this tournament we're in, plus everything after. This was not the year to lose a game like this.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't. Okay, I stand by what I said, though. You're not going to change my mind right now.
I know.
At Shoebox on Twitter, they gave up 100 to Colgate. I said it before the season started, and I'll say it again. This could be the worst defensive team in history of Syracuse basketball. Well, I don't know about in the history of Syracuse basketball, but like Jesse, our buddy Jesse said, it doesn't look great. And Jesse, in his, to his point, to his defense rather, he makes some good points in that effect. So we'll see. I don't know. It's easy. It could be easy to be super negative after this game, and it was a terrible day for Syracuse sports just in general. But I got to imagine they improve. I mean, for whatever reason, too, dude. Coach always gets this thing rolling right when you think you're just ready to throw up your hands and be like, "This is done." All of a sudden, something happens. A couple years ago, the defense was great and the offense was terrible. You know, I mean, so look, he's going to be able to teach it. It's a matter of who's going to learn it and learn it right. And if coach has got to make the decision to move this roster around, he will. I mean, he's got more options. Let's not forget, he's got more options this year than he's had, right? So, I mean, this
kind of.
I think so. Definitely. Not kind of.
We only got really 3 guards that can play. So
well, that was the same thing last year.
So.
I mean, I understand, but, you know, you throw Benny Williams in and you could, I mean, there's all sorts of things you can do. I mean, if Benny Williams improves, like to Jesse's point, that could be.
But Symir, he's got to improve tremendously.
Yes, he does. I totally agree.
Especially exactly, like I said, the same way yesterday. You know, Ferguson sat back. I mean, I watched when Torrance is in there. They dared him to shoot threes, and he didn't shoot it. And, you know, he fell back and he was playing defense, and they were basically doubling Joe. So there's little things like that just can't happen. Benny is minus 28. He's got to figure it out. And honestly, too, we shot 40-something%, and we shot a lot of bad shots. There's a lot of one-on-one, just bad shots. Once Colgate took the lead, you started seeing them trying to, you know, especially near the end, you know, we were just rushing, we were pressing, trying to, you know.
The press sucks. If we want to talk about anything, can we talk about how bad the press was?
The press was awful.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible.
I wasn't even talking about the press as much as like we were just pressing on offense. Like it was like,
oh, okay.
You know, you get the players, they look up, you know, there's 4 or 5 minutes left, you're down 11 and you need a bucket, and they're forcing stuff and they're taking bad shots one-on-one, not, you know, running the offense, not being patient with stuff. You got to be, there's a lot of time, and you got to be able to still run your offense and get good shots. And I think there's a lot and some bad shots and a lot of one-on-one stuff, as you can see in the assist numbers. And that's just really what it was, is they had a game plan. They stuck to it. They hit their shots eventually after the bad start. And we just were just forcing stuff the whole damn time. You know, we just probably thought we were eventually going to get it and just eventually take over. And Colgate said, no, you're not. And
What'd they say?
They said, no, we're not. You're not. No, we're going to keep making these shots. Ferguson's going to keep making these shots. And Cummins still going to.
What's his first name? What's his first name? Ferguson's.
That's Turd. I mean, okay. Jack Turd Ferguson.
All right. Well, we have gone much longer than I would have liked, but you know, these things happen. Sometimes it's necessary. Okay, we are going to get back.
Get the anger out after that one.
I know, anger, frustration. Yes, it was.
Tough.
Look, we'll be back here for Pitt and VCU as soon as we can. For Joe and Sean, we're out.
Peace.